Welcome to the Paul Fletcher International Racing Circuit, the only track of its kind built here in Britain. And the paddock is packed for a brand new event on the karting calendar. This is Kart Masters 96, and the best of up-and-coming British racing talent is here for a showdown unlike any other. Well, the whole event and the circuit is the brainchild of one man, a man who rose through the ranks to compete at the highest international level. And now he wants to see young British drivers given the best chance to take on the best in the world. Our man trackside, Tony Delahunty, caught up with him.
Well, I've been thinking about it for about 20 years, but we started building it 2 years ago. So obviously 18 years of research went into it. But yes, it's come to fruition now, and we're delighted.
You used to race yourself, you were a Great Britain karter. I mean, how does this circuit differ from the circuits that you raced on in England?
Well, they were very primitive in the early days, but they certainly have got much better all over. In Europe, they're very good, but I think this one tops even the best in Europe.
And what about the entry for this meeting? I mean, you've got some of the top guys around, in fact, all of the top guys and a few of the top girls as well.
That's right. I think we're very pleased because this is a one-off meeting. It's not a British Championship meeting, it is a one-off cup final type meeting, and all the top ones have come, which means that this has got a status now.
Now, we're going to be watching a lot of kart racing over the next hour or so, so can you tell us, while we're watching it, what we're going to see as far as the future is concerned of motor racing out there?
Well, yes, if you kept a programme, or if you can remember the names that are here today, I'm sure you'd get them in Grand Prix racing within 10 years. You'll have a lot of these juniors on the Formula 1 grids in 10 years' time.
So, a lot of future superstars to look out for. But first, to give you a taste of what this circuit is all about, earlier we did a lap from driver's eye level. We'll be following drivers at both ends of the age range today, but at any age, it's the team behind the drivers that really counts. Back with Tony on trackside.
How much do you worry when he's out there?
I don't worry so much about him having an accident anymore. I've got a lot of confidence in Lewis now, but it's just very nerve-wracking.
You go through every emotion known, do you?
Yes, yeah.
What's it like when he wins?
Wonderful.
He's jumping up and down in the stands.
Can you see her jumping up and down when you're going past? What about Dad? What's he like? Let's say you had a bad day, Lewis. What's Dad like then?
His head's through the because he's jumping too much in the grandstand. His head's going through the roof.
Well, maybe the start of the road to Formula 1 for young Lewis Hamilton, the British champion. But this man wants to beat him. Young Chris Rodgers, number 9. 91, Paul di Resta. Also very quick, as is 22, Edward Tilley. Very competitive, this 60cc racing. This man is too, from Crewe. It's Andrew Twiss. 54, Richard Miles. A fast-coming young cadet karter. All are very competitive. As is Evan Hopkins, looking for victory in this one. The man they want to beat right at the front. There he is, Lewis Hamilton, the British champion from the year previous. And this race, of course, will decide the positions for the grand final later. Hamilton makes the early break, but Rodgers is through. Hamilton, in fact, has dropped to third. So Rodgers with the lead. He's being pressed by Edward Tilley. They might be small, but they've got hearts of lions, these guys. Tilley looking to try and take the lead. So we've got a new leader in Edward Tilley. Has Hamilton gone through? Yes, he has. Rodgers demoted to third. And fourth briefly there was Richard Miles. Now it's Hamilton again. Rodgers right behind him. Still Hamilton. And Chris Rodgers, perhaps one of the biggest challengers for the crown of Lewis Hamilton in this year's Cadet Championship. And these guys really make these 60cc karts buzz. Hamilton. Rodgers looking down the inside, lead that braking late, and that forces Hamilton back 2-3 places. Also through there to third place, Richard Miles. Now Tilley having a look. Hamilton now back in fourth. Rodgers has the lead. Still Rodgers. Is he going to make a little bit of a break? Richard Miles in second place now, and just look at the gaggle behind them. This is Rodgers. Super quick. So too is Hamilton. Still Rodgers. Hamilton trying to break away from those behind him. And now Hamilton back up again. Now watch this move, classic. Looking down the inside, claims the corner, goes through. 91, Paul di Resta tries to go through with him. And there is Hamilton. Superb lunge down the inside. Rodgers in second. Di Resta up there in third. And starting to have a look was Evan Hopkins. Hopkins now in fourth. Very much a fast-coming man, young Evan Hopkins, but it's still Lewis Hamilton, the British #1, the man who aims to be. Rodgers behind him. This Trent Valley circuit of PF International proving a superb backlog to these boys. Quick look over the shoulder from Lewis Hamilton. Some say that's a mistake, others say he's picking his position. Rodgers is just watching and maybe choosing the moment to pounce. Down the start and finish straight. This time, it's Rodgers for the inside. Hamilton around the outside. Can he hold? No, he can't hold off Rodgers. And 88, Evan Hopkins looking like making the break. Four of them, you could cover them with a postage stamp. 8 to 12-year-olds. Don't bank on not seeing any of these names in Formula One. This is the slow-mo again of Hamilton. There, 91, just behind, having a look. That's Paul di Resta. Hamilton slamming the door shut. Rodgers is on the outside. Hamilton able to make a little bit of a break, and now it's Rodgers again. Hamilton. Di Resta's in there. So too is Evan Hopkins. Shove a blanket over them. And Hamilton now looks for the inside. Hamilton gets it. Rodgers just behind. Can you bet on who's going to win this one? And this is only the pre-final. Hamilton again. Edward Tilley's still in with the chase. And that's in fifth spot for him. Di Resta. But it's still Rodgers having a look. And he's got it. Still Hamilton in behind him. And I bet the lap charters are having some fun with this one because it's change and change again. Evan Hopkins is definitely very much on the pace today. And Hamilton now, well, not content to stay behind Rodgers, but that's where he's got to be for the moment. Last lap sign. Anybody's guess. Hamilton wants it. Evan Hopkins comes up against Rodgers. Hopkins goes wide. That gives Hamilton the chance to break away a little bit. But Evan Hopkins is still there. Rodgers has dropped back to third, or will he be fourth? No, he still has third. He's very focused, is Lewis Hamilton. He's got great track craft. Young man from Stevenage. But Evan Hopkins on the chase, and Evan Hopkins right behind him now. Has Hopkins got a bit left in him? Hamilton looking for the inside, but Hopkins has gone down the outside and still tucks in there. And Hopkins is going to get there. He's going to go through. Rodgers tries to go through. Little wheel banging and tapping. But now, Evan Hopkins for the first time has the lead. Can he keep it? And he is the first final. Oh, by a wheel. They both put their hands in the air. The timekeeper and the computer tells us Evan Hopkins wins the cadet final. And what a race. Let's look at that moment again. There's Hamilton. Evan Hopkins appears to be not wide. The two come together. Over the shoulder, Hamilton has a look. He must feel he's got it now. But then almost immediately, Evan Hopkins, maybe going wide was an advantage. Powers on. They come up to the next corner. Hamilton still has that, but runs a little bit wide. Hopkins keeps it tight. Oh, what good control. Hamilton can't do a lot about it because by that time, the ever competitive Chris Rodgers is also there. What a cracker.
Well, all I've got to do is just try and keep ahead of Lewis and Chris and all the rest. It was a good race in that last one, just got to do what I did in that one.
You left it almost till the very last corner, didn't you? I mean, are you one of these guys who usually clinches it right at the end?
Well, no, I just thought because Lewis went over the other side of the circuit, I went over the other side. And he went wide coming into the S's at the very end and I just slipped through.
Gonna win it?
I'll try.
Welcome back to the Paul Fletcher International Circuit for Kart Masters, where we're building to our two grand finals, starting with the cadet class. On pole, the man to beat, Evan Hopkins. Right next to him, the man who could beat him, British champion Lewis Hamilton. Sitting behind him, Chris Rodgers. Number 54, Richard Miles, sitting in number 4 position. Number 22, Edward Tilley. And rounding off the top 6, Paul di Resta. Let's see how they get on.
Well, still to come then, 2 of what are going to be the toughest finals. And this underway now is the cadet. And the man who won the first one, the pre-final, in pole position, Evan Hopkins with the lead, Chris Rodgers in second, then Lewis Hamilton in third. It was Edward Tilley in 4th place, but we've already had changes. And now the British number 1, Lewis Hamilton, up there. But the red flag has stopped this one. Underway again we go. And again, action replay. Evan Hopkins takes the lead. Tough little character is this. Rodgers jockeying, looking for a way round. Hopkins, no doors open there. Rodgers again having a look. Hopkins again saying no, but this time can he fend him off? And it's Rodgers, what a good little driver. Hopkins. Having a look again. Notice that Lewis Hamilton has dropped back, and it's Nicky Mitchell who's moved up into 3rd spot, demoting Lewis Hamilton to 4th. Over the start and finish. And it's Rodgers now going through. Left his braking very late there. Hopkins in 2nd. Still Nicky Mitchell in 3rd. Oh, good move from Rodgers. And now Hamilton up into 3rd. Evan Hopkins into 4th. Hamilton was having a look there inside Nicky Mitchell, wheel banging. And Rodgers with the benefit of a little bit of a lead from Nicky Mitchell. But now it's Rodgers back in the lead. Hopkins still there or thereabouts. Hamilton in 3rd. This is allowing Chris Rodgers to get away a little bit. Well, it looks it there. Battling behind they are. Hamilton seemed to come through the middle then. They're experts with their carburettors, these little guys with the 60cc combers. You don't ask Damon Hill to lean over the back and adjust the carburettor. You ask these 8 to 12-year-olds to do it, and they do it to perfection. Or most of them do. Rodgers, Hamilton. Hamilton with the inside. And now Hamilton with the lead. Can he hold on to it? His arch rival, Chris Rodgers, is asking him the question and putting the pressure on him. But Lewis Hamilton, there's a wise head there on very young shoulders. And both of these two, very brave. Rodgers and Hamilton, put a postage stamp over those two. Joined with 3 laps to go, and for goodness sake, don't bet with the person sitting next to you who's going to win this one, because I can tell you it could be any of the 3 or 4 battling for the lead. Lewis Hamilton still has it though. Rodgers tucked in there. Evan Hopkins, the winner of the pre-final, the pole position man, in 3rd place. Paul di Resta, 91. Don't write him off. You do that at your peril. And Andrew Twiss has joined in. He's not had the best of days as young Andrew Twiss, but my goodness, he's a battler. But still, Hamilton, Rodgers, Hopkins, di Resta, Twiss with the watching brief for the moment. And now Rodgers, then Hamilton. There's 5 of them so close. Rodgers, Hamilton. Still Hopkins is in there. Di Resta's in there. Twiss is still in 5th. Twiss choosing to go the wide line. While they battle, he can maybe make up something. Rodgers has taken the lead again. Hamilton in 2nd. Look over the shoulder of Evan Hopkins, but Rodgers looking ahead. This Rodgers, oh, how much he'd love to win this one. So too with Evan Hopkins. The man who's got that front seat with a little glance over his shoulder is Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't give much away, does Lewis Hamilton. He can defend like a good one, he can attack like a good one. Chris dropping back a little from that gap. And now, Hopkins pulls out of the slip. He also goes back into 4th place. We've got 20 up there now. That was Stephen Thompson coming from nowhere. And it's still the battle between the 4 or 5 of them. Oh, three together, and now Stephen Thompson's gone through. What a drive from Stephen Thompson. But he gives away nothing, does he? Straight back there is Lewis Hamilton. Rodgers is back there with him. These two must haunt each other. And Hopkins says, don't forget me. But who's going to get that flag? Almost together. Hamilton does it. Little gesture of what a battle from the very sporting Chris Rodgers, but Hamilton had it. And the British #1 is the Cadet Kart Master of 96.
I got overtaken just going into the chicane, and luckily I got in the inside of him and held it tight so nobody could get on the inside. And I knew nobody could get me around the S bends, and so I went straight into the inside on a straight, so it was good.
I got him into the first hairpin, and then I blocked and then moved out. I hit the curb, got on 2 wheels and came down, and it slowed me out the corner, and then Lewis and number 20 got out and went by.
At the start, I got a bad start, and then I got on the rumble strip back to 14th. I worked my way up, and then it got stopped. And then I had to go back again. And then they started it again, and I came back up. And then they stopped it. And then it was a straight line start, and I got going there. And I worked my way up to 3rd.
Well, as the fastest seniors enjoy their final lap of honour, there's plenty to celebrate too for the youngsters, who I'm sure will be bringing you more action in Kart Masters 97.
Currently over on Sky Sports 2, Worldwide Rugby. On the new Sky Sports 3, next, golf live coverage at the Sprint International. While next here on Sky Sports 1, Sky Sports Centre.